Good morning, Web Spiders. Today is Friday. It is April 15th, also known as Tax Day, although Tax Day is April 18th this year. Makes no sense. Ask your parents about it. Anyway, important things to share with you today. We have a list, very long, of Reading Counts Award winners. And today, in about 7 minutes, right after announcements, you are to report to Mrs. Bartram's room to get your Reading Counts prizes. Usually we do it at the end of Friday. We have to do it at the beginning of Friday this week. So congratulations to Mackenzie Sponberg, Elizabeth Woods, Austin Bingham, Dodge Cooper, Max Goforth, Camden Sanders, Braden Shekels, Eli Castro, Cole Lopadoda, David Beasley, Addison Harris, Daniel Honeycutt, Reagan Hunter, Ava Ott, Connor Vandegrift, Haley Combest, Nathan Heyman, Michaela Hines, Jeffrey Hoyt, Mackenzie Schneck, Zoe Walker, Corinne Nicholas, Madeline Lowe, Brianna Gonzalez, Carlos Jasper, Reese Phillips. Listen to this next name. Peggy Kenzie. Mrs. Kenzie. That's right. Mrs. Kenzie's been reading books and taking reading counts quizzes. Congratulations. Danica Mayer, Nate Seal, Edgar Tisdale, Brianna Wilson, Gabriel Martinez, Brock Elmore, Mia Herbert, Maddie Cappy, Wyatt Nicholson, Aspen Parkhurst, Nick Smock, Ryan Dean, Lydia Griffin, Memory Hahn, Xander Honeycutt, Jamie McCombs, Devin Richards, and Xander Schutz. Woo! That is quite a reading counts list. That's exciting. Have some bucket fillers to share with you today, too. This goes out to Lucas Dodd from Mrs. Kinsey. Lucas got beat in the last round of Around the World, and he immediately stuck out his hand and said, "Good job" to his opponent. Love his good sportsmanship. Congratulations, Lucas. That is awesome. This goes out to Ivy Soto from Mrs. Whitaker. You overfilled my bucket this morning by coming in at 6:15 in the morning and helping with our teacher's breakfast, also helping with the book fair. Thank you so much, Ivy. Love Mrs. Whitaker. Oh, Ivy, 6:15, that's early, just to help Mrs. Whitaker in the book fair. That is so cool. This goes out to Miley Waugh from Mrs. Andrews. Miley was a rock star today in math. She quickly and quietly completed her math minute. She made phenomenal use of her time by reading her BookBeat book when she was finished. She was also very kind and loaned a pair of scissors to a friend who needed to borrow some. Way to be a great leader. Awesome, Miley. And Mrs. Andrews' bucket is full, and so is mine. I have some special guests in the studio, so I'm going to ask my special guest from Mrs. Miller's room to step back for a minute, and I'm going to have these special guests come forward. Mrs. Clendenny? Yeah. Yesterday we told you that we were previewing the Buddy Bench. You guys come over here where I can see on camera, okay? Right here. And you guys just step back for a minute. Buddy Bench committee, come forward. These are the kiddos that we have here. And I'm afraid that maybe our upstairs kiddos are getting ready for a field trip. Okay. But anyway, guys, what I'm going to have you do is they're going to tell you, this committee got together, and maybe Mrs. Clendenny can kind of explain the process.
Okay. Boy, we're crowded in the studio today. Excuse me. Okay, well, you remember yesterday we talked to you about the Buddy Bench and how we're getting ready to start that today. It's our big kickoff. And so we chose 2 students from every grade at Webb to be on a Buddy Bench committee to talk about how are we going to use our Buddy Bench and what's it going to be for. And so we made up some kind of like rules, right, for our Buddy Bench. Yes. Just kind of guidelines or things that help us remember how to use the Buddy Bench. And so we wrote up something that kind of talks about that. So we're gonna share that with you today. So would any of you, and I know they're surprised, they didn't know they were going to do this. So would any of you like to try to read that? Tristan, would you like to read what it says on there? If you can read it really nice and loudly.
Webb is excited to have something new on our playground, the Buddy Bench. Buddy Benches exist on playgrounds all over the world. They have a very special purpose to make sure that everyone has a chance to be included at recess.
Good. Anybody want to read next? You feel like you want to try it? Caitlin, you want to try? Can you hand that to... There you go. Nice and loud so they can hear you.
Before you sit on the Buddy Bench, think of something you would like to do and ask someone to play with you.
So that's kind of number one. Number one, before you would ever go sit on the Buddy Bench, you should maybe look around and ask someone to do something. Anybody want to read number 2? Okay, go ahead.
The bench is only used
if you can't find anyone to play with, not for
That's a big word.
socializing.
That's right. Not for socializing.
No, so we don't just sit there to talk. It's only if you can't find someone to play with. Did you catch that? So if you're on the playground and you've tried and you've asked and you can't find anyone to play with, then you can go sit on the buddy bench. How about number 3? Want to read number 3, Aeneas? Can you see it? Okay. You two share that.
While sitting on the bench, look around for a game you can join.
Okay.
Oh,
So while you're sitting there, keep looking just in case you see something you want to join. Okay, what's number 4?
If you see something you want to do or a friend you want to talk to, get off the bench and join them.
Okay. So, Mrs. Moran, if you're on the bench and while you're waiting for someone to ask you to come and play, if you see someone you want to join, you can get up and go join them.
so you don't have to wait for someone to come to
You
you.
don't have to.
So you just keep looking and say, oh, I could do that.
Right.
Okay.
They decided that would be a good rule.
I think that's a great rule. Okay,
Go
Miss.
ahead.
When you see someone on the bench, ask the person to play with you.
That's a big one. Did you hear that one? Can you read that one more time, Aeneas, nice and loud?
When you see someone on the bench, ask that person to play with you.
Did you hear that? So if you're out on the playground and you and your buddies are having a big, busy game and you happen to look over and, oh, someone's on the bench, you should go and invite them to play. That's a big part of what the buddy bench is all about. Can you, Tristan, you want to read the next one? I think we're on number 6, maybe.
Yeah, we're on 6.
If you're sitting on the bench, play with the first classmate who invites you.
Ooh, I love that one. So you're sitting on the bench,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe someone you don't know at all comes over and invites you to play.
Mhm.
You take the invitation, right?
Yeah.
Take the invitation.
Our
You don't
committee-
wait for another offer.
No, our committee decided they didn't want it to be that you're going to sit there until a certain someone that you're hoping will ask you comes and asks you, because that's not very kind. If someone else comes and invites you, you go with that person.
First
okay?
invitation.
First invitation.
Or don't sit on the bench, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Oh, that's why we had number 3.
And
Yes,
number 7. Aeneas, go ahead. Number 7.
Keep playing with your new friends for today.
Great. And how about, can all of you read that last one together?
It's up to all of
Us
us
to make the buddy bench work
at
well.
well.
Let's say it one more time together. It's
It's
up
up
to
to
all of us
us
to make the buddy bench work at Webb. Woo! That's a lot.
Now, the teachers got a copy of these guidelines today, too, in their emails. So if any of you have any questions about how the buddy bench works, or the teachers that are out at recess, if they had questions about it, they can read what we just read, too. So if you have questions about how that's going to work, ask your teacher, and you can talk about it in your classrooms. But we're very happy with our committee. And did
Thank
we
you,
say,
guys.
can we read who was on the committee?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So our committee members were Jensen Burt in kindergarten and Elizabeth Woods. In first grade, we had Hope and Aeneas. In second grade, we had Caitlin and Tristan. In third grade, we had Edgar Tisdale and Ava Long. And in fourth grade, we had Cooper Taylor and Madison Prine. And so they helped us come up with these guidelines, and we thought they were really a good idea.
Awesome. Thank you, guys, and thank you for giving your time to come up with a great thing for Webb Elementary.
You're welcome.
Okay, thanks. We'll see you guys later. Then I'll have my other studio guests come forward. And at this time, I'm going to have you guys look straight at the camera, and we're going to start right here with Haley. Introduce yourself and tell us what room you're from.
I'm Haley Combes from Miss Miller. I'm Macy Smith from Miss Miller's class. I'm Isabel Clemens from Miss Miller. I'm Kristen Stoner from Miss Miller's class.
At this time, if you'll stand and push your chairs in, let's have a moment of silence. Now for the pledge. You ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll take that flag back. So the buddy bench is awesome, awesome, awesome. I can't wait to see some of you invite someone on the buddy bench to come and play with you. And it's also just a great place that if you don't have anyone to play with, you can go and sit on and wait for an invitation, right?
Yes.
But keep looking, keep looking. Maybe you'll discover something by sitting there and looking that you want to do that day. Huge shout out to our 4th graders who are getting ready to leave for a field trip. They're going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, to that museum, and they're going to have a great day, and I expect you guys to represent the Webb very well. Best manners. Again, I love when I get calls from officials at field trips that say, your kids were, your Webb Spiders were one of the best groups we've had through this year. So I think that's awesome. Let's do our creed and have a great day.
I'm a member of the Webb family. I take pride in myself and my school. I promise to do these things every day. I will only say positive things about myself and others.
I will respect and trust others. I will insist on giving my personal best. I will discuss and listen actively. I will expect and give truth and honesty. I am glad to do my part to make Webb School a place where everybody is somebody special. Make it a great day in the Webb, and advice?
Make sure you're doing it right.
Especially in the computer labs. You leave those headphones alone. Got it? Got it. Fabulous Friday.